Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Everything's all right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Jai. Jai Kendra Prabhu.
Jai Maharaj.
I'll be coming to Vrindavan on 16th, Maharaj.
On the 16th?
Yeah, so maybe 17th. I'll see you in Vrindavan.
But I won't be there.
Oh,
I won't be here on. I'll be in Ujjain. I'll come back on the 18th.
oh, okay. Oh, you go to Ujjain. Nice, nice, Maharaj. Nice.
So whenever you're ready, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasyata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Sripad Panam Shripad Vishacharya Ashto Krishna AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Sripad Jai Anand Koti Vaishnavan Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Jai James Kapoor Sister Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Goli Bhakti Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Sam Radha Krishna Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Prabhadev Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Ki Jai Angamayi Ki Jai Samanamayi Ki Jai Nisi Dev Ki Jai Bhakti Dev Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Ki Jai. All glories to you, Son of Devotees. All glories to you, Son of Devotees. All glories to you, Son of Devotees. Lord Premanande.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, for leading us in Kirtan, and welcome to everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Friday, September 9th, 2022. We're reading in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th chapter, and we're starting tonight with text number 30 as far as I know. Is that, Maharaj, correct?
Yes.
Number 30, 3730. And if you'd like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, please go right ahead when Maharaj calls for kirtan. Do not let there be a moment of dead air time. We're happy to hear from you, as well as with your comments and questions throughout the evening. So thank you very much for being with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Tendra Prabhu, and thank you, Mahesh Pandit, and thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Devaya. Yagyasya cha vitanani yogasya cha prabho naishkarmyasya cha samtyasya tantramba bhagavat smritam. These also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and the paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations. Purport. The word tantram is significant herein. Sometimes tantram is misunderstood to be the black spiritual science of materialistic persons engaged in sense gratification. But here, tantram means the science of devotional service, compiled by Srila Narada. One can take advantage of such regulative explanations of the path of devotional service and make progressive advancement in the devotional service of the Lord. Sankhya philosophy is the basic principle of acquiring knowledge, as will be explained by the sage Maitreya. The Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Kapil Dev, the son of Devahuti, is the real source of knowledge about the supreme truth. Knowledge not based on the Sankhya philosophy is mental speculation and can yield no tangible profit. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupapadam Maisyam Tadhati Sapavantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamaman Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadrashatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitam Nademam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Ravita Shri Vishakhan Namaskar. Hey Krishna Purana Sindho Dina Bandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaskute Yapta Kamshana Gaurandi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Holy Priya Vansha Gopika Kripa Sindho Devacha Pratitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yagyasya cha vitanani yogasya cha vitarkabho naiskarmasya cha sankyasya tantram va bhagavat smritam. Here we're continuing the many questions posed by Vidura to the sage Maitreya, things that Vidura wants to hear about. He wants to hear about yagyas, sacrifices, about yoga, mystic powers. He wants to hear about nice karma, freedom from karma achieved by knowledge, and Sankhya, analytical study. Gopal Hari Prabhu, in his book on Srimad Bhagavatam, has discussed at quite some length the relationship between Sankhya philosophy and Srimad Bhagavatam, how we find the Sankhya philosophy entwined with the explanations of devotional service. And as always, when Srila Prabhupada mentions Sankhya philosophy and Lord Kapila Dev, he's careful to distinguish Kapila Dev as Devahuti Putra, the son of Devahuti, to distinguish him, set him apart from the atheistic Kapila Dev and his atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Any questions here so far? Comments? Ashanda Pata Vaishamyam Pratiloma Nideshanam Jivasya gatayo yascha yavatir karmajaha. Please also describe the imperfections and contradictions of the faithless atheists, the situation of crossbreeding, and the movements of the living entities in various species of life, according to their particular modes of nature and work. Purport. The combination of living entities in different modes of material nature is called crossbreeding. The faithless atheists do not believe in the existence of God, and thus their paths of philosophy are contradictory. Atheistic philosophies never agree with one another. Different species of life are evidence of varieties of mixtures of the modes of material nature. So this Pashandapata is the path of the faithless, Yastu Narayan Devam Brahmarudradi Daivatai, Samatvainaya Viksheta Vipashandin Pavekrita. Those who think that the demigods and the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, are on the same level are described as Pashandas, or more generally, those who reject the path of Vedic understanding are called Pashandas. And Vaishamyam, their notions are full of misunderstandings, contradictions. Each philosopher is replaced by another philosopher who has a better idea, and so on. This crossbreeding is not what we usually think of as crossbreeding, like breeding a Jersey cow with a Deshi cow or something of that nature. Pratiloma is a particular kind of combination of man and woman in human society. There are two kinds of combinations, three really, but Anuloma and Pratiloma. When the husband is of a higher caste and the wife is of a lower caste, that's called Anuloma. And that's accepted. Just as Kardamuni, a Brahmin, married Devahuti, the daughter of a Kshatriya, that's Anuloma combination. But the combination of a higher caste woman with a lower caste man is called Pratiloma, and that's not at all appreciated. The example of one example of Pratiloma was Romaharshan Sutta, and he was condemned. Of course, he became a great sage, and so then that transcends one's birth. But when he offended Lord Balaram remembered his the Pratiloma heritage. Another example of Anuloma is Vyasadeva and the maidservants of Dhritarashtra. Vidura is Anuloma, but Pratiloma, unacceptable or unfavorable mixing of castes. All right, any comments or questions here?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Gurudas.
Dandavats and all glories to Haridas Thakur on his day of disappearance. Or at least it is in this part of the world. I don't know exactly how to put this without sounding antagonistic, which I'm not. But why would the devotees, especially devotees of the caliber of Vidura and Maitreya, concern themselves with how atheists think, or and a corollary to that question is why is the Bhagavatam concerning itself or concerning us with of course it's knowledge, the crossbreeding and the aniloma, pratiloma, but the Bhagavatam over and over again points itself out as being concerned with pure devotional service, which, as you have said, transcends those distinctions. So it's very interesting, even captivating, to find information like this in the holy Srimad Bhagavatam.
Why does the Bhagavatam concern itself with the views of atheists? Why not just leave it all aside and not bother about it? Generally, any doctrine, religious doctrine, political doctrine, social doctrine, defines itself in relationship to its antagonists. In relationship to its antagonists, often you'll find that a doctrine is not really clearly articulated until there's an opponent espousing some contrary view that obliges the original doctrine to define itself more clearly. We have the word foil, meaning of a person who is one's opponent and who might make oneself look good. The derivation is from buttons and such items which are or were sold on a kind of a foil background, which made the buttons stand out. So an idea or a teaching stands out when contrasted with opposing views. Namam Dushpita Namuta Prapiyantayanala. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita speaks very loudly against those who deviate from the Vedic path and those who refuse to surrender to him. So I think that explains why we concern ourselves with atheistic views. As for Pratilom, this is also a concern of Vedic culture. It's not that the Bhagavatam says we're only concerned with transcendence and nothing of this world. We find the duty of kings described in the Bhagavatam. We find so many topics relating to material duties, to the four orders of occupational duty, the four social orders. These things are articulated in relationship to Krishna. Samsiddhi Haritochana. By following these orders in Krishna consciousness, one pleases the personality of Godhead. And when we come to Pratiloma, then we're dealing with Varna Sankara. Sankaro Narakasyaiva. And the Varnasankara population, what probably calls unwanted population, makes life hellish. So understanding, now it's just sort of thrown away. Anybody falls in love with anybody, and that's all you need. But in the Vedic civilization, they were very careful about this. To be sort of, what's the word? Just very physicalist about it. In animal husbandry, they're very careful about which animals they breed with which other animals. Thoroughbred horses and so on. You want these superior characteristics of a particular kind of horse to persist from generation to generation. In plants, in botany, the same thing. You breed certain plants to ensure that you'll get superior qualities in the succeeding generations. And then you come to human society, and it's like anything goes. As if breeding didn't matter. We have that term breeding in relationship to human society, and it's usually taken to refer to manners and etiquette and so on. But actually, even in human society, it meant breeding.
Mm-hmm.
We find that there was great care devoted, even in Europe, these things were among royalty and so on, taken into consideration. You didn't marry a princess to a gardener. You married a princess to a king. And that also is a king worthy of the princess and so on. And so breeding matters. A royalty, a royal princess wouldn't marry a commoner. And it wasn't just a matter of social prestige, but there was some understanding there. So these understandings matter for progressive and spiritually progressive society. And so Vidura brings them up. And in our modern age, they're just totally foreign, like breeding. What is that? Why do we even think about it? But no, it's considered.
Thank you very much for the thorough and very thought out explanations, Maharaj. I guess I was just confused as to why there's so many other topics Vidura brings up that are very meaningful to devotees, and these seem to be less so.
Varnashram is important. Tapumbir Dvijashreta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Svanustutasya Dharmasya Samsiddhi Paritoshana Varnashrama Acharvata Purushena Parap Divan Vishnu Radyate Panta Vanita Tosakarana. The Varnashram is principles, as we know, Prabhupada wanted to introduce, because they set a pattern in human society which supports devotional service, supports progressive spiritual advancement. So these things matter, just as the duties of a king matter. When you have a good king, then the citizens can more easily make progress in all their duties, including the duty of spiritual advancement. When the king is a rogue, then the opposite.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Dasmani. Saraswati says, how and when did the entire caste system deteriorate to one based solely on birth instead of character. Currently, this caste system is so corrupt, oppressive, and condemned by most. Well, I can't trace how and when. In Bhagavatam, Sakali Neha Mahata, over time, everything deteriorates. Over time, everything deteriorates. I don't have insight into when. How is more clear. When the materialistic mentality becomes prominent and false ego is the basic principle of things, then where one wants to establish one's own superiority, and the Brahmins particularly become puffed up. They want to, humility is the beginning of knowledge, but when the so-called Brahmins become puffed up and disqualified, they want to assert their superiority just by birth. Praveen sent a note, since the time of Shringi cursing Parikshit. Yes, that I don't know that that's the beginning, but that's certainly an example of how the puffed up, uncultured son of a Brahmin cursed the king. And Prabhupada makes the point that it's not just birth, but it's culture. So the boy had the birth and even some of the power, but he didn't have the requisite culture. So as cultural values deteriorate, just like now we see there are Brahmin families, and they've been pujaris, they've been priests, and so on, generation and generation, generation after generation. And now the present generation, they're attending IIT and getting trained up to be software engineers so that they can live in America and live different kinds of life, so that those values, Brahminical values, are lost over time by bad association, by association with the lower modes of nature. Shall we move on? Karmartha kama mokshanam nimittanya virodhataha vartaya dandanitescha shrutasya cha vidhin katak. You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation, and also the different means of livelihood and different processes of law and order, as mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Karmartha, kama, moksha. Now these are the basic principles or goals of human life. We follow religious principles to develop economically, to satisfy the senses, and finally to achieve liberation. So please describe those, describe one's proper profession, especially the Vaishyas, how should they be engaged for economic development, dandanite, law and order, and the various rules and regulations of scripture behind all these things. Any comments or questions there? Shraddhasya cha titim brahman pitrinam sargameva cha Grahanakshatrataranam Kala Vayava Sangstitim. These also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the Pitriloka, the time schedule, and the planets, stars, and luminaries, and their respective situations. Purport. The time durations of day and night, as well as months and years, are different from the different planets, stars, and luminaries. The higher planets, like the moon and Venus, have time measurements different from those of the earth. It is said that 6 months of this planet Earth equal 1 day of the higher planets. In Bhagavad Gita, the duration of 1 day in a year is in years. No, something's wrong in the copy I'm reading. In Bhagavad Gita, the duration of 1 day in years multiplied by 1,000. And the month of and year in Brahmaloka are calculated in that measurement. So we get the idea. In Bhagavad Gita, the duration of 1 day is Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Yadahur Brahmano Vidu. Their 1 day is 1,000 years. So the life of Brahma is 4,300,000 times 1,000, times 2, times 12, times 30, times 100 solar years. Going back to the previous verse, Pancha Tattva Prabhu asks what non-contradictory here means without confusion. Does non-contradictory here mean without confusion or lack of clarity? I'm not really sure. Say the Avir Tata is non-contradictory. Let me just see if I have anything like Avir Tata. No. The Vishwanath doesn't comment on it. Sri Prabhupada doesn't comment on it. Well, Virta does is Vishwanath's comment. And that may be even the reading that he has rather than Avirodha. Virod usually means, as far as I understand, well, contradictory to the standard. Dharma viruddha karma bhutesu kamosmi. Sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. So it seems we want to hear about what actual dharma is, what actual kama, moksha, artha, what are the standard principles, standard understandings of these things. That's as far as I can offer.
Thank you,
Uh,
Gurudev.
Thank you. According to the perception of the demigods, a man on earth who lives 100 years comes and goes in 200 days. Yeah, math is not my strong point, but I'll take your calculation on that. The general principle is that time is different on different planets. It's, of course, we get this, and Doug can speak to this with authority. But as a layman, we take it that Einstein and so on and his colleagues have delved into the idea of relativity and the notion that if you went to a different planet, time would stretch, you'd come back after however long and everyone would be gone. These things are discussed by modern physics, but they're found in Bhagavatam long, long ago. Okay, anything else? Oh, okay, so Shraddha Shicha with him. Shraddha, periodical offering of respects. It's a particular ceremony. The Shraddha ceremony is a particular offering of respect to the departed souls in the family. Shraddha. So please speak about that. Please speak about the trees and the various situations, various planets and their time scales. These topics will be dealt with in detail in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhanasya tapaso vapi yachcheshta purtayo palam prabhasas tasya yodharmo yashtapunsa utatavi. Please also describe the fruitive results of charity and penance and of digging reservoirs of water. Please describe the situation of persons who are away from home, and also the duty of a man in an awkward position. Purport: the digging of reservoirs of water for public use is a great work of charity, and retiring from family life after 50 years of age is a great act of penance performed by the sober human being. So dana, charity, and here tapasya, Srila Prabhupada links to accepting the vanaprastha ashram. I won't go on about that here because most of you, I think, have heard my seminar on the topic. But it's a adopted, Prabhupada said, by the sober human being. A thoughtful person adopts the vanaprastha ashram in due time. The apadi, apadi, apadharma means emergency duties. We have our standard regulative principles, our standard rules for action, but there's also apadharma, duties that one accepts in an emergency. And then things change. Apadharma, it's mentioned someplace I think that this Swami was traveling in the desert or some such desolate place, and circumstantially had to eat dog meat. But he didn't lose his standing as a Brahmin and sage because it was apadharma. It was necessary. Yes. Any other comments or questions here? Okay. Yena bhagavan stushed dharma yonir janardanaha samprasidati vayesham etat akyahi menaka. O sinless one, because the personality of Godhead, the controller of all living entities, is the father of all religion and all those who are candidates for religious activities, kindly describe how he can be completely satisfied. Purport: all religious activities are meant ultimately to satisfy the Supreme Personality of God. The Lord is the father of all religious principles. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, 4 kinds of pious men: the needy, the distressed, the enlightened, and the inquisitive, approach the Lord in devotional service. And their devotion is mixed with material affection. But above them are the pure devotees, whose devotion is not tainted by any material tinges of fruitive work or speculative knowledge. Those who are only miscreants throughout their lives are compared to demons. Bhagavad Gita 7:15. They are bereft of all knowledge in spite of any academic educational career they may pursue. Such miscreants are never candidates for satisfying the Lord. All right, let's see, there's an interesting comment here from Vishnu. The Lord is described as Janardana, the controller of all living beings. And of course, we've reached a sort of high point here. We've talked about various topics that raise questions like, why are we talking about this? But now we're talking about directly satisfying Janardana, the personality of Godhead, the Dharma Yoni, the father of all living beings, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when you're a sinless person, now please describe that. And Vishwanath comments that Janardana is he who bestows things to the Sakama Bhaktas, those who have some material desires that are devoted to the Lord, Artha, Charthi, Jagasu, Ganesha, the neophytes. The Lord bestows things upon them. He gives the desired results that they're hankering for. Or Janardana can mean he who gives suffering to his pure devotees by the pain of increased training. All right, any other comments or questions? Uvratanam Shishyanam Putranam Cha Pujottama Anaprishtam Api Bhuyur Guravo Dina Vatsalaha. O best among the Brahmins, those who are spiritual masters are very kind to the needy. They are always kind to their followers, disciples, and sons. And without being asked by them, the spiritual master describes all that is knowledge. Purport. There are many subjects to be known from the bona fide spiritual master. The followers, disciples, and sons are all on one level for the bona fide spiritual master, and he is always kind to them and always speaks to them on transcendental subjects, even though he is not asked by them. That is the nature of the bona fide spiritual master. Vidura appealed to Maitreya Muni to speak on subjects about which he might not have asked. So this is, a request that I put so many questions, but there may be important points that I haven't asked about. So I leave it to your discretion. Anuvratanam Shishyanam Putranam. The Uruva Dinavatsala. Dinavatsala means very kind to the needy dependents. Uruva Dinavatsala. So there may be things, anaprishtam, things that I haven't asked about. This is the nature of the devotees, is that they're concerned with the welfare of others, and especially their students, their sons, their followers, those who've taken shelter of them. The spiritual master is always thinking of their welfare. The Kripas and Vaishnava is always thinking about the welfare of others, and especially those who come to him for training, for instruction. So the Dean of us, time to be. So Vidura appeals to the kind nature of Maitreya. Please be kind to me. If there's anything I haven't asked about that needs discussion, please speak to me about that as well. Any other comments or questions here?
Guru Maharaj, I was reflecting on this purport, and I was thinking Srila Prabhupada epitomized the spiritual master who addresses all of these different topics for a disciple, even those unprompted or unthought of by the disciple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many things that we didn't know what to ask about. We didn't know what to ask about, what was up and what was down. And Srila Prabhupada methodically spoke to us about what we needed to hear about. We saw so often that people in general, or even disciples, had really useless questions to put before Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada was focused on what we most needed to hear. What we most needed to hear. sometimes we find also that the spiritual master doesn't consider you're my disciple, you're not my disciple. He's kind to everyone. Not that for my disciples, I give my life. And if you're not my disciple, you can go to hell. The Karunika, the bona fide spiritual master, is naturally kind. Saraswati says the Guru is very pleased when their followers, disciples, become advanced. But the disciple always wants to remain dependent on the Guru and not outgrow even an inch. The need of completely remaining dependent on the Guru, who is their father. Yes, that's very nice. The disciple wants to please the spiritual master. The disciple wants to accomplish things for the spiritual master. But the genuine disciple always recognizes that it's only by the mercy of the spiritual master that he's able to do anything. And Srila Prabhupada's prayer, one of his prayers on the Jordan, he glorifies Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada is speaking about this Ugrastan, nasty place to which he's come, and he's wondering how the degraded people of America could ever become Krishna conscious. But Tarish Chabalaram, Bashta time. I forgot. But the meaning is that the desire of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is very strong. He's so great, and his desire is so strong that people everywhere can become Krishna conscious by his mercy. Srila Prabhupada didn't think that I'm learned, I have bhakti, I have knowledge. Data 9, bhakti 9. I don't have knowledge, I don't have devotion. But Krishna and the spiritual master can fulfill the purport of bhakti Vedanta. They can make everything glorious as they did. So, yes. Murari has a question. Do you feel Prabhupada's expertise in so many areas was due to his purity or personality or a combination? Well, Prabhupada is an individual person, and he had particular expertise in various departments. His father engaged a teacher for him at a young age to teach him Mridanga. Prabhupada was expert in Mridanga playing. Prabhupada was educated at Scottish Church's College, so he had English background, and so on. And then he had his individual personality also. His strength, his drive, his humor, and so on. And yes, his purity. And everybody is perfect, ultimately, when pure in consciousness. And yet everyone is different, ultimately, even when pure in consciousness. So both things are there. Sometimes those who are envious attributed Srila Prabhupada's success to his business acumen or some material characteristic. But what is that? Krishna Shakti Binam Nahi Tar. Now it's conceded that no, without Krishna's mercy, such things could not have been possible. Not merely by organizational expertise or other such qualities which Srila Prabhupada had, but not merely by expertise of that sort, because others might have had similar characteristics or other assets that could have been influential. But that pure devotional service, the force of pure devotional service, and the mercy of his spiritual master and previous acharyas, that's the ultimate force. Without that, no one can accomplish anything. So again, now it's acknowledged by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas that Srila Prabhupada was particularly empowered by Krishna, by his spiritual master, to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. All right, let us stop here and have kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om God, Bonaman Sundari God, Church Go to the institution of AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Gurvad Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Nama Charja Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari, Gaur Bhakti Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Radha Kundi Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Kamlamani Ki Jai, Kamlamani Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, all glories to you, some of the devotees, all glories to you, some of the devotees. All glories to the Son of the Lord. Go from that day.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Gurudev.
Thank you, Doug, Shara, and Shitatsva, and
Thank you, Guru.
thank you all.
Perfect, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
Thanks to everyone for being here again. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayādvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Some Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.